And we're back for our daily college basketball best bets here on this College Basketball Wednesday. We continue the NCAA tournament, obviously, with the first four. We went 2 for 2 yesterday. At least I hope so. I'm recording this at halftime of the UNC San Diego State game, and unless North Carolina, blows a 24-point lead, we should be fine. Now, we didn't get the spread on the Alabama State game, but if you follow the parlay that I said to play, Alabama State, North Carolina money lines, you would have hit. Now, the NIT games, obviously, we'll see what happens. But anyways, good day yesterday, at least for the NCAA tournament. Looking for more of that today, obviously, with the first four. Now, Mount St. Mary's versus American University and Xavier versus Texas are the two games being played in Dayton, Ohio. Yes, I have a Texas jersey on. It's just a KD jersey, not a Texas guy at all. But folks, before we get into the best bets, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. Obviously, we're doing this throughout the NCAA tournament with other tournaments as well, like the NIT, like the Crown, and also later today we will have our NBA predictions out on the channel. Big slate today in the NBA featuring the Lakers taking on the Nuggets in Los Angeles. So make sure to check that video out in 3 hours, and also make sure to go check out our college basketball or March Madness full predictions. Now, 2 for 2 so far. We're perfect. It's a 100% perfect bracket. Just saying. We're going to continue that the entire way through. So if you want to see who I have to win March Madness, all you got to do is watch that video in the description down below. And also, make sure to check out our UFC London predictions. Leon Edwards, Sean Brady in the main event this Saturday, again from London, England. That's on Greedo Plays MMA. Subscribe to that channel. Subscribe to this channel, as now we get on to the first of our 5 games today. And we start with the first four. Mount St. Mary's versus the American University Eagles. Give me the Mount. Two teams that we predicted to win their conference tournaments, right? I mean, we weren't always on the Mountaineers, but once we got to the final four, we're like, all right, final four. We're like, all right, give me the Mount. And for American, that's the team I thought was going to win the Patriot League through and through. They were the number 1 seed in the Patriot League tournament, and obviously they got through it. We had them in the championship game over Navy, where they completely destroyed the Midshipmen, winning the game by 22. I think Mount St. Mary's is the better basketball team, and I don't think people have been watching Mount St. Mary's this season. American University is the favorite in this game, which really surprises me. Both these teams have identical records. They're 22-12. I think the reason why American is favored to win this game is because the Mount didn't play as well conference-wise. Sure, they were a 12-8 team in the MAAC, but once they got to that tournament, they beat that god-awful team known as Marist. Shout out to the Mount. They beat Merrimack, who was projected to beat them, and the team that I kind of thought was going to win the entire thing, at points. We kind of thought Quinnipiac too, but shout out to the Mount. And then the Mount obviously beat Iona in the championship game. They beat the Gales by 14. We obviously had the Mount at plus, 160, 175, 165-ish in that game. And the Mount's on fire right now, and you got to give a lot of credit to their star player, Dola Adebayo. Adebayo can do it all for this squad, averages 13 points and 7 boards a game. He's their guy. They have some other scorers as well, but Adebayo is the primary guy for this team. I do like JD Cordia, who's a pretty solid big for them as well, averaging 10 points and 7 boards a night. Dallas Hobbs has been a good guard for them this entire season as well. Same with Xavier Lipscomb, who is really running their point. But Adebayo is a game changer. He's going to be the guy that you are going to focus in on while watching this basketball game. But again, going back to the point where I don't know why the odds are where they're at. I get it, Mount St. Mary's wasn't the best road team in the MAAC. You look at their last couple losses: on the road at Quinnipiac, on the road against Fairfield they lose, at Siena, at Rider. But when this team played neutral site games or when they were at home, they were much better. And now they get to go to Dayton, obviously, and take on AU, a team that I think they're better than. Personally, I know the MAAC is not very great, and obviously Marist was a team that somehow won 13 games in their conference. They won 20 games as a whole, and they come from that conference. And again, the Red Foxes were the worst team in college basketball this season. I don't care. At least they finished the year the worst team in college basketball. But I think the MAAC as a whole is better than the Patriot League. And it's kind of that comparison I made yesterday, and I get it. Completely close game yesterday between St. Francis and Alabama State. But I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. I think the SWAC is better than the NEC. And I do think that the MAAC is better than the Patriot League. And sure, American went 13-5 in the conference. It's a team that we were all over for the second half of the season. I did like how the way that the Eagles played. I don't have the utmost confidence in them. I mean, prior to playing in that conference tournament, they lost a home game to Navy. Now, again, They got their get back in the championship game, beating Navy by 12 points. But AU, and this is something that they didn't have to do, that Mount St. Mary's had neutral site throughout the MAAC tournament. American, and this is how the Patriot League goes, you get home court. So if American University, and they were the number 1 seed, Lafayette, Colgate, and Navy all had to go to American University and play them. This time they're in a neutral environment. That's going to make a difference because Mount St. Mary's has been playing, in that neutral site vibe the last week or so, and American University's only been at home. I think, again, Mount St. Mary's is the better basketball team. For AU, they are led by Matt Rogers, who averages 17 points a game. He's by far their best guy. Elijah Stevens, Greg Jones, Colin Smalls, Matt Mayock, are their other main scorers and the guys who fill up the starting lineup. But I do think the better team is the Mount. I'm telling you, Dola Adebayo is the best player on the court. I think, again, his numbers don't really compare to Matt Rogers because Rogers does put up more points. Maybe pure scoring-wise, Rogers is the better guy. Put up 25 in the championship game in the Patriot League over Navy. But I do really like Dola Adebayo. He's really good defensively, and he's been really coming on as of late in terms of scoring. 15 points in the championship game, 19 and 16 in the back-to-back matchups against Marist. Again, this is the matchup to watch. Both these guys, play kind of the same style of ball. I'd say Adebayo's a better defender. I think potentially, yes, Rogers can score more effectively, but I think Adebayo gets the better of the matchup, and that's, again, what we have to watch in this game. I'm taking the Mount. They're the better basketball team. We're taking the Mount to win. You can keep your points. We're playing the money line for Mount St. Mary's to advance to the NCAA tournament, or advance to the round of 64 by winning in the first 4 here against AU. We go on now to the NIT. Trust me, we'll be back with the NCAA tournament in a little bit. But first, UAB takes on St. Joseph's. Now, shout out to the St. Joseph's Hawks. We get to watch their mascot flap his wings the entire game. Again, because it's at St. Joseph's, right? So the mascot's just going to be going crazy the entire basketball game. I actually like the Blazers here. I don't think St. Joseph's is all that great. I don't know. We watched them play George Mason, and obviously George Mason went on their really nice run in the A10 tournament, losing obviously in their championship game to VCU. This is a team that's playing Samford, I believe today. Yeah, they're playing Samford today. They're 7.5-point favorites today in the NIT as well. But St. Joseph's, got shut down defensively in that basketball game. They were down big early. They tried to mount a comeback, but ultimately, again, the Patriots just were too much in the second half. St. Joseph's has never been the team that's, blown me away this season. I'm going to be honest with you guys. They have some decent scores, and that all starts with Eric Reynolds II. He's a guy who averages 16 points a night, but he has been their leading guy for the second half of the season. Xavier Brown is their overall leading scorer with 17.5, and then their big is Rasheer Fleming, who averages 15 and 9. Beyond those 3 guys, though, there's not much production elsewhere. Yes, Brown, Reynolds, and Fleming are great basketball players. Other than that, and this is where St. Joseph's has struggled, finding production outside of those 3 guys. The all-around better basketball team, in my opinion, is UAB. I know they're on the road. And yes, Yaxel Lendenborg does a lot for this basketball team, right? This is a guy who averages 18, 11, and 4. Lendenborg had a huge American athletic tournament, putting this team on his back. I mean, listen to the numbers Lendenborg was putting up prior to the Memphis game and the championship loss. ECU game, 30, 20, and 8 for Lendenborg. North Texas game, 23, 13, and 4. The Memphis game in a loss, 19, 17, and 4. Yeah, he puts a backpack on, that's fair, and he does really carry this basketball team. But at the same time, though, there is somewhat of a supporting cast. Not to say there isn't for St. Joseph's, but 1 through 8 in the rotation, I think the better supporting cast is definitely with UAB. We're talking about Alejandro Vasquez, who hit some big shots in the American Athletic Tournament. Jabari McGee was big for them, came up clutch at points as well. Christian Coleman's a good player. Ephraim Johnson, Tony as well. I mean, there are guys on this team that can step up and hit big shots. And again, yes, all the attention is going to be on Lendenborg, but that's a good matchup, I think, for UAB. I get it, Rasheer Fleming can hoop, but Lendenborg is an elite player in the American Athletic Conference. He's been great all season long, and I think he's going to continue to be great in his final year, obviously, playing college basketball. He is a senior. The one thing that is, kind of concerning about UAB is that they're on the road here, and obviously they get to play in that environment where the St. Joseph's Hawk, again, is just going to be flapping his wings the entire game. But I think UAB is able to keep this game competitive. The aggressive play here is undoubtedly UAB money line, as the Blazers are plus 190 here on the road. Don't mind that. Personally, I just play the points here for UAB, just because I don't think St. Joseph's is able to get away from them by that many points. I think this is the type of game that goes right down to the wire. You look at St. Joseph's victories, their last 2 wins were very competitive games, both in the A10 tournament, a 5-point win against LaSalle, a 5-point win in overtime against Dayton. Again, if we get that type of game between them and Alabama Birmingham tonight, we cover with the Blazers with the plus 5.5. So I just don't think St. Joseph's is able to get away from them by that many points. Reynolds and Brown are hoopers, and obviously we're going to see that matchup like we said in our first game, obviously, with Adebayo and Rogers. We're going to get that same kind of big matchup tonight in this game with Rasheer Fleming and with Yaxel Lendenborg. And yeah, it's probably a better matchup than the one that we're getting with American and the Mount, but obviously those are 2 16 seeds, so who cares? Both fun games, obviously, and sure, a lot of, most of the attention is going to be on the Mount versus American, but this is a good game, obviously, college environment at St. Joseph's. I just think UAB is able to keep this game competitive off the back, again, of Yaxel Lendenborg, but expect Alejandro Vasquez to hit some big shots, expect Jabari McGee to show up, and I do think UAB can play a competitive basketball game in this one, and I think they can, I think they can potentially win too. But the main pick here and the best bet for this specific game is Alabama Birmingham plus 5.5 on the road here at St. Joe's. We go on to our third best bet of the video, and we return to the NCAA tournament. We'll have some more NIT to close the night, but at 6:10 p.m., we've got the Xavier Musketeers taking on the Texas Longhorns. Maybe I gave it away with the jersey, sure. We're taking Texas to beat Xavier. We're going full-on underdogs today, and there are going to be more underdogs later in the video, so stay tuned. Give me Texas. I think Texas is better than Xavier. Now, if you watched our March Madness full predictions, I did hype up the Big East a lot, and I do mean that. I think the Big East is a great conference that gets overlooked a lot, and I think people are just, writing off some of these teams, especially UConn, especially St. John's and Creighton. Well, those are the tournament teams. I understand writing off Marquette. They went ice cold at the end of the season. Regardless, though, Xavier has a chance to make it 5 teams in the full 64, obviously, in the NCAA tourney. I don't think it happens. I think Texas beats them. The Longhorns, record-wise, should they be in here? No, they shouldn't. They should not, right? They're 19-15. They're the 14th team in the tournament for the SEC. Again, this should be Indiana. Well, Indiana should have been in for North Carolina, and Indiana would have done to San Diego State what North Carolina is doing, in all fairness. But I'm still mad Indiana's not in the tournament. I think, West Virginia kind of deserved to get snubbed just because they're embarrassment in the Big 12 tournament. But hey, DeVries, welcome to Bloomington, Indiana. Welcome over Tucker DeVries as well. Indiana basketball's back next season, okay? Anyways, that's like the Kurt Signetti type signing for their basketball program. I hope. Anyways, the Longhorns can hoop. They can, right? I fell victim to it a couple times this season, just picking against Texas because sure, Trey Johnson would have nights where he wouldn't have, great games. The supporting cast around him, we're talking about, Jordan Pope, we're talking about Arthur Kaluma. These guys, they will have games where they don't show up. I highly doubt this is the game they don't show up in, though. I mean, obviously, it's win or go home in this tournament. You got to win to advance, and I do think they rise to the occasion tonight against the Xavier Musketeers. They impressed me in the SEC tournament, right? I mean, going into the tourney, they were a 17-14 team. They lost to Oklahoma prior to the tourney, had 3 straight losses prior to that as well, where they beat Mississippi State, but then lost 3 in a row before that to South Carolina, Arkansas, and Georgia. I mean, you would have liked to see them win one of those 3 games, obviously. So I thought Texas was a little bit, no, they were cold. Let's just be honest. Trey Johnson went, 0 for 11 in the Oklahoma game right before the SEC tournament. They found a way to win, though. They kept finding ways to win. They dominated the Vanderbilt game, right? Vanderbilt went up early. I think it was like 10-8, and then Texas never gave the lead back. They just dominated for the rest of that ball game. And the game that got them into the tournament, obviously, was the double overtime victory over Texas A&M. Trey Johnson with 20 points in that game. Huge victory that punched their ticket, obviously, here to Dayton. They lost to Tennessee. No shame in that. The Volunteers are a really good basketball team. I think Texas is better than Xavier, though. I don't want to completely compare conferences too, because Xavier, right, the 5th best team in the Big East, Texas, the 14th best team in the SEC, record-wise. But I do think, again, Texas is just better than Xavier. I do think they are. Xavier was hot to close the year, and we talked about this at length when we talked about the bubble before the bracket was obviously announced. The huge win streak out of Xavier, right? 7 big victories to end the season that ultimately got them in the tournament. They beat Providence, they beat DePaul, they beat Butler, they beat they beat Seton Hall, they beat Creighton again. They beat Creighton for the first time. They beat Butler and they beat Providence again. 7 straight victories. Obviously lost to Marquette in the Big East tournament by 2 points. That was enough to get them in the tourney. They've got scores, you know. I mean, that's what we're gonna get when we get to this point in the tournament. Ryan Conwell had a great end of the season. Zach Fremantle has been great all season long. Both of those guys averaging 17 points a night. The better all-around basketball team, though, is the Texas Longhorns, and I believe that. Fremantle and Conwell are great, but the Longhorns obviously bring in Trey Johnson, Arthur Kaluma, Jordan Pope. There are players for the Texas Longhorns, and I think we get incredible value here with Texas at plus 135. Absolutely love it. You can take the spread at plus 3.5. My play for this, though, is the Texas Longhorns on the money line. So for our 2 NCAA tournament first 4 games today, you can keep the points with Mount St. Mary's in Texas. We are strictly playing money lines. Texas is the better basketball team. They had to play in the SEC this season, which was the toughest conference in all of college basketball. Not to say the Big East was bad, but obviously there are bottom feeders in the Big East like we saw all year long. DePaul, Providence, Seton Hall, Butler, Georgetown, everyone, the bottom 5 were all bottom feeders. Let's just be honest. Georgetown lost 3 times to DePaul this season. I cheer for the Hoyas, but man, it's horrible, right? You know, I'm not a Hoyas fan, but just, you know. Anyways, I'm taking Texas. They're better. Yes, Fremantle's a good player. They've got guys on Xavier, but I think Texas is the all-around better basketball team. Give me Trey Johnson and the guys scoring masterclass tonight over Xavier. I think they put it on him. Give me the Longhorns at plus money. We go on to our 4th best bet of the video, and we move back to the National Invitational Tournament. I believe it's what it's called. Northern Colorado versus UC Irvine. Yeah, we're going back to the well here with UCI. I think this is just a levels game, if I'm being honest. UCI, I think they're my team right now. I didn't make a full NIT bracket, video, just because I don't think anybody would watch that, if I'm being honest. But UCI is the team I think is going to win the NIT. I believe that. I think they are the best team right now in the National Invitational Tournament. I think they should have gotten the NCAA tournament. Hell, I think they're more deserving than North Carolina and Texas. Just going to be honest. I think they are. Deserving wise, would they beat them? I don't know. I think they completely smashed Northern Colorado here. Watching Northern Colorado's championship game in the Big Sky tournament made me realize this team's not ready for prime time. Now, did we ever think Northern Colorado was ready for prime time? No. I thought they were going to beat Montana, though, and Montana's like the weakest 14 seed I've ever seen. They're going to get decimated tomorrow, or tomorrow, Friday. I don't know when they play. But North Colorado is not very good. What I realized watching Northern Colorado play Montana and watching the Big Sky tournament and watching Big Sky conference games all year long was that this conference just isn't very good, because Montana's the best team in the conference. I witnessed Portland State get eliminated this year in their conference tournament game by going like 2 for 40 from the 3-point line. So, no, the Big Sky is just a bad conference in general. I'm just going to be honest, right? I mean, I saw Sac State play competitive games with a lot of teams in this conference, and Sac State was the bottom feeder all year long, and it didn't matter if they were at the nest or not. They were horrible. So I just don't think the Big Sky is a good conference, right? And Northern Colorado's best win this season is a home victory, I think, personally, over South Dakota State. I think that's their best win. I like the Jacks a lot. I know they were a huge disappointment in the Summit League tournament. One and done, obviously, over there. Embarrassment. They let Trace and Eagles down, score 50 points on them. But anyways, I just think UCI is so much better than Northern Colorado. Northern Colorado, they will... they'll get out on you. They're going to score. It's just that a lot of these teams in the Big Sky just don't play great defense. They just don't. Northern Colorado's big claim to fame this year, I guess, is the double overtime loss, their second game of the year to Colorado. Well, the Buffs were crap this season. Let's just call it how it is. They played some more Summit League teams other than SDSU. They lost to the Tommies of St. Thomas, Minnesota by 12 points on their own home court. North Dakota State beat them in Fargo by 12. They beat Denver, but Denver sucked, right? You look at their non-conference schedule, not impressive at all. UCI is good. We know they're good, and they're at home tonight. And now UCI might honestly be a better road team. They have the most road wins in all of college basketball this season. Again, a deserving team of the tournament, let's just be honest. But we talked about the difference makers on this UCI team, and obviously starts with Ben Leichton. Leichton, again, they're big, 15.5 and 9 a night. We talk about the other starters, Tillis, Che, Hahn, Dixon. They're good players, man. They just ran into a very tough team in the Big West Tournament championship game. They went 1-2 against UCSD this season. And it's going to be on the video tomorrow. I think they play tomorrow. UCSD, I think, is going to beat Michigan. Okay? Spoiler if you haven't watched the the bracket breakdown yet, and we'll get to that game tomorrow, obviously, for our best bets. But that's how good the Big West was this season. The Big West was a dogfight, man. I mean, it really was. You look at Irvine, UC San Diego, Northridge wasn't bad. That cesspool in UCR was not horrible. Hopefully, again, I'm recording this before the Santa Clara game yesterday. Hopefully, you're watching this now, and we hit on that yesterday. But anyways, hell, Poly was really good to end the season, man. Cal Poly eliminated Riverside. They beat UCR twice at the end of the year. And who eliminated Poly, who was red hot? UCI. They beat them by 18 points. They're more than capable of scoring. They're going to shut down Northern Colorado defensively. And they should, again, be able to have their way shooting the ball against this team. UC San Diego is just a really good defensive team like UCI, and they limited the Anteaters to only 61 points. They turned them over a bunch of times, but again, that's what UCSD does, and that's what they will do to Michigan, who turns the ball over like it's nobody's business. So again, we're going to get to that tomorrow. I think they play tomorrow. If not, Friday. I believe it's tomorrow, though. Give me Irvine. Give me Irvine here. There's just levels to this game, guys. There's levels to this. The game's in Irvine, California. Irvine's by far the better basketball team. The Big West is levels better than the Big Sky. Because again, you have the second best team in the Big Sky taking on the second best team in the Big West. Give me the Big West all day long. Isaiah Hawthorne's a really good player. Langston Reynolds can score as well. Hawthorne averages 17 a game. Langston Reynolds averages 16. These guys can hoop. We'll see. Hawthorne, the senior at Tracy, California. He can play, but we'll see what happens when Devin Tillis is on him, or Leitch. It'll probably be Tillis because Leitchton isn't as versatile as Devin Tillis. I think UCI's got this one on lock, man. They're at home, and this should be a statement game for them if we're just being honest. Didn't get in the tournament. They probably knew they weren't getting in, but they were the next four out. Knew they didn't get in the tourney. Time for a statement. They go out here and beat the Northern Colorado Bears. It's our only favorite we're picking all day long because we close the day in San Jose, California, with the San Jose State Spartans and the Loyola Chicago Ramblers. Might be my most ambitious pick of the day. Give me the Spartans at home. Okay, eye test wise, San Jose State's better than Loyola Chicago. Okay, the record might not say that San Jose State's better than Loyola, and I know we've picked San Jose a lot this season. We started the year, and our first video of this entire college basketball season was me actually picking against the Spartans on their own home court against the Western Illinois Leathernecks, and we did hit on that, by the way. But San Jose State since has found their identity. I get it. They're 15-19. I don't know how they got a home game in the NIT. I actually don't know how that happened. It does not make sense to me. I find it really funny that the Bay Area got San Jose State at home, Santa Clara at home, Stanford at home, and San Francisco. All four of them have home games in the NIT. I don't know how SJSU got one, but great. Probably not going to go, but thinking about it, probably not. Yeah, I'm surprised, but I think San Jose State can get Loyola here. All right, one, they're at home. Now, okay, there's no real, crowd advantage at the Provident One Credit Union Arena. There's just not. Trust me, I've been, nobody goes. But the advantage for San Jose State is Loyola, again, has to go all the way from Chicago to San Jose to play this basketball game. That's meaningful, obviously. San Jose State did find their identity towards the end of the year. Their biggest claim to fame this year and their biggest win, obviously, is the win at home against New Mexico. I went to that game. It was crazy. San Jose State, Latrell Davis with the game winner for the Spartans and their biggest win by far of the year. Now, they got their Mountain West championship hopes crushed by New Mexico later in the tournament, obviously. New Mexico put belt to ass in that game. But I do like the Spartans a lot. I do. I like the British guards, Josh Uche, Latrell Davis. Those two guys can really hoop. Davis was hot in the middle of the year. Kind of cooled down as the season went on. Like, very end of the year, Latrell Davis, who was killing it for us, by the way. We'd always rely on Latrell Davis for big nights. Kind of cooled off as the season ended. I don't know what happened to his shooting, because this is a guy who was popping off for 30 a night, and all of a sudden now, Latrell's only scoring like 10 points a night. Let's hope he can turn it up here in the NIT. But Uje's been great all year. Robert Vaihola is sometimes really good. He's their center. Will McClendon's, the leader of this team, kind of, from UCLA, obviously. I just don't think Loyola Chicago is that great. I've watched this team multiple times this season. They've never wowed me. Their best win all year, I would say, entertainment-wise, was the Dayton game. That game was fun. The Dayton and the St. Louis games were both really fun at home for Loyola Chicago, and the St. Joe's games too. They had a lot of competitive home games that they won. And I know it's a while ago, but the Christmas tournament, man, really sticks out. They were so horrible in that tournament. was Loyola Chicago. They go to Hawaii for the Christmas tourney, obviously lose to Oakland, lose to Charleston, lose to Murray State. They get swept over there. And now they were much better, obviously, this year conference-wise in the A-10. They went 12-6. They beat St. Louis, actually, in the conference tournament, but they ended up losing it to the eventual winners, obviously, in the VCU Rams. Where Loyola Chicago will struggle sometimes, though, is finding guys to score. Right. Sheldon Edwards, I still think's their best scorer, I think. I don't know. I don't really think that, showed at the end of the season. But Edwards, I think, is still their best pure scorer. Maybe it's Jaden Dawson. Probably it's Jaden Dawson. But Sheldon Edwards can hoop too. Des Watson's their other leading scorer. But where Loyola will struggle is finding guys to take over games. They just will. Rarely do you see a guy for the Ramblers pop off for 25. And sure, it's just how they play. But sometimes when you don't have that one go-to guy, then nobody's hot on your team, right? I think San Jose State has that, obviously. Whether it be it's Uj, Davis, or Donovan Yap. Those are the three guys who can get hot at any time, primarily with the shooting. They're all great shooters. I'd say Latrell Davis is probably the best shooter at the bunch. But Josh Uj, Latrell Davis, Donovan Yap, they can all shoot the basketball. Only one of those guys has to get hot in this game. I think so. In San Jose State, they do struggle sometimes with some high-scoring teams. That's not what the Ramblers are. I think San Jose State should be able to play with pace in this game. I think they're able to get off to a hot start in this one, and I'm taking the Spartans at home as underdogs. Again, we get this team at home. I don't mind it. You look at the odds right now, plus 3.5. If you want to take the spread, take it. That's probably the best bet for this one, plus 3.5. I'm not going to straight up tell you to take the money line, but at the same time, I don't mind plus 135. I just don't like the money line as much with this game like I did for the first 4 games in the NCAA tournament in Dayton. But again, the official pick for this one, the official best bet, is the San Jose State Spartans plus 3.5. I'm not sold on Loyola Chicago. They lack really good scorers, and on top of that, they have to go on the road to play San Jose State, not the other way around. I'm taking the San Jose State Spartans to pick up the win at home over the Loyola Chicago Ramblers. Let's just hope again Uj and Davis get going. We have not seen a great game out of Latrell Davis in a long time. Hopefully now as the postseason comes up, Latrell Davis does have one of those nights, because I've been saying it too. I think Latrell Davis has the potential to play somewhere in one of the power conferences next season if he does want to leave San Jose State. We will see, right? I don't know entirely if he's just here because Uj's here. They're both from Britain. I don't know if that's completely a thing. But if Davis does want to play elsewhere next season, he definitely can. This is a showcase to the rest of college basketball right now. Go have a big game and stop scoring 9 points a night. Just saying. He's been great for us all year long. Let's turn it around tonight. So, folks, thank y'all for watching our college basketball best bets here on Wednesday, March 19th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back later today for our NBA predictions, as well, of course, for our daily MLB The Show 25 series with the Sacramento Athletics. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.